Hello, welcome to this live session by IMS Gets It Law. In this live session, we are going to discuss the NMIMS-LAT 2025, the question paper of NMIMS-LAT. Me and our team, we have appeared for NMIMS-LAT, and after that, we have brought this session for you. In this session, we are going to analyze the type of questions that were asked in the examination. Before going into the analysis, let's just understand what is the pattern of this examination. Now there are 150 questions in this examination and the time given to solve those 150 questions is 120 minutes. 1 marks for right answer and there is no negative marking. 5 sessions are English logical reasoning, maths which is also called quantitative aptitude, legal reasoning and GK including current affairs. Each and every section has equal footing, means each and every section is of 30 marks. Unlike any other examination, for example, if you are going to appear for MHCET or SLAT or CLAT where there is difference in the marking scheme amongst the section itself, in NMIMS LAT there is no difference in the section on the basis on the ground of marking scheme. So we have to focus equally on each and every section. Maths is equally important, GK is equally important, English, reading comprehension, logical reasoning is equally important. It becomes equally important in this examination. So let's start with the analysis. So the 5 sections: legal reasoning, logical reasoning, quantitative techniques, English language and general knowledge including current affairs. I'll say that legal reasoning and general knowledge and current affairs, they were around easy. Legal reasoning was very easy. All of the 30 questions were of principle, fact based questions. There was no legal GK in this examination, but there was no legal GK in this examination. All of the 30 questions were of principle based questions, and the topics from where those questions were, all of those students who have been preparing for other examination, you will find it easy to solve legal reasoning in this examination. Let's come to logical reasoning. Logical reasoning was easy to moderate. Quant was moderately high. I'll say it was above moderate. Why? Because there were questions directly asked from different. There were not. There were questions from geometry as well. We'll see what kind of questions were there. So quant, it was moderately high. English language easy to moderate, and general knowledge including current affairs moderate. So whoever thinks that they're appearing for law entrance examination and their quant is not that great, so you have to work hard to for this examination. In your maths, on your maths you have to work hard, right? So let's start with the first section. The first section is legal reasoning. Now, as I said, that the level of legal reasoning in NMIMS LAT was easy. Principal fact questions were there, draw conclusions based on the principles. Now the topics, the law subjects from where the questions were drawn up from were torts, contracts, IPR, criminal law, constitutional law, family law and international law. They also touched international law in their examination. I'll repeat that there was no question of legal GK, but it does not mean that they won't ask legal GK in any other slot. As we already know that NMIMS LAT is going to be conducted in 2 different slots. First slot is in March and the other slot, second slot, which start after March, right? So they must have a question bank from where they are asking these questions. So the questions will change. We are just understanding what type of questions or what could be the pattern of NMIMS LAT from the examination that we have given, right? So the questions could change. Maybe they will ask legal GK as well, but as we see that in their 30 questions, they only in the 30 questions only principal fact questions were there. There was no legal GK. So how you will prepare for legal reasoning for NMIMS-LAT? Start solving previous year question paper where there were questions revolving around principal fact based questions. Start solving our mock test relating to MHCET and NMIMS-LAT. You will find ample amount of questions relating to these subjects, and it is also based on principal fact based questions. Now let's move on to the next section. The next section is logical reasoning. Now the logical reasoning, I have all of the 30 questions for you from where they ask the questions. Now there were two sets of seating arrangement questions. One was circular arrangement and one was linear arrangement, and there were 4 questions in each sets. So 8 questions were there from seating arrangement, statement assumption around 5 to 6 questions, statement assumption around 5 to 6 questions, statement conclusion again around 5 to 6 questions, odd one out, and I found questions around image and symbols. These questions were new. They gave you some images, they gave you some symbols, and you have to find out which one is odd one, which one is not fitting in the options, right? So there were questions regarding image and symbol based questions. You must have been practicing questions around seating arrangement, circular arrangement, blood relations, directions, but there were no questions from blood relation or direction. But the questions were from seating arrangement, statement assumption, statement conclusion, odd one out, and the new section was image and symbol based questions. While preparing for logical reasoning, you should not leave out blood relation or directions. Those are easy sections. But you must focus on seating arrangement because there was 8 questions from seating arrangement, right? Now, let's move to the next section, quantitative techniques. Quantitative techniques moderately high. Now, when we prepare for CLAT or SLAT, there are questions only from percentage or ratio or work, time, speed and distance, etc. Now these are the 4 sections that we focus upon. But in NMIMS-LAT, they also ask questions from geometry. Now there were direct formula based questions, formulas relating to triangles, isosceles triangle or something. So the questions were directly formula based. If the questions are being asked from geometry, it does not mean the question was much on a higher side, higher level question, level of difficulty was higher, but you need to know the formulas to attempt these questions, right? So the geometry question, if you are going to prepare for quantitative techniques and going to cover each and every topic from quantitative techniques, you need to know the formula to attempt geometry questions. Other than geometry, time, speed and distance, percentage, there was a question, graph, using graph. They gave you graph, they gave us graph, and then you have to find out the percentage of whatever data they gave. So percentage using graph, it wasn't that hard question, but they combined 2 topics, percentage including ratio. So I presume that if you are preparing for quant, you have done all of these 4 topics: time, speed and distance, percentage, ratio and work. So these are the 4 questions from these 4 sections there were around 20 questions. Now if you feel that there is added burden that you have to prepare for geometry as well, now after I'll suggest that after making sure that you are good, you have prepared properly for these 4 sections, for these 4 topics: time, speed and distance, percentage, ratio and work. After those sections you move to geometry or any other section, right? Because if you have done these 4 sections properly, you will be able to score around 20 marks in this section. There is no negative marking, so you do not need to be panicky about that there are questions from geometry. I am just telling you that there were questions from geometry, but you can score around 18 to 20 marks if you have covered these 4 sections properly, and all of the law students, law aspirants who prepare for any law entrance examination, they prepare for these sections. So focus on the basics, whatever you have been preparing for this section, particularly for quant, and then move to different topics such as equation based questions and geometry, right? Now let's move to next section. Next section is English language, easy to moderate. Easy to moderate. Now this section tested you upon your fundamentals of English, grammars, tenses, grammar, tenses, how. So first of all, let's talk about reading comprehension. There were two sets of reading comprehension, 4 questions each. And the topics, you do not need to, in reading comprehension, you do not need to learn about the topics, right? They gave you passages, and from there you have to find out the answers or conclusion or inference, whatever the question is. Now the passages were around 300 to 350 words. So not that longer passage, 300 to 350 words. And the two topics from where they asked the reading comprehension was, the first was Greek philosophy. It was fairly easy to understand this topic from Greek philosophy, and the second was gut flora related to digestion. Now these are the two topics from where they asked the reading comprehension. You do not need to learn about each and every topic. That's clear about reading comprehension. You just need to read a lot, right? If you have practiced properly, and if you are going to practice properly in this coming preparation time, we are running our brisk batches. We are running the batches for MHCET and NMIMS-LAT. We are going to cover properly this section, reading comprehension. You have to solve a lot of reading comprehension questions. Now the questions, 4 questions each, they weren't that hard questions. uh, Two of the questions were directly from the reading comprehension, from the passages, and 1 or 2 questions were around inference or conclusion of the author regarding that. So if you have understood the passage, you will be able to score marks in this section. 4 questions in each reading comprehension. There were 8 questions in reading comprehension. Secondly, there was a question, and 6 questions were there, of arrange statements in proper sequence. 6 questions were there from this section. Arrange statements in proper sequence. The other is find the incorrect statement. Now, 2 sections regarding statement. Find the incorrect statement. Incorrect statement grammatically. You have to find out the statements incorrect grammatically, right? And then fill in the blanks with the correct word. Your sense of the statement, your sense of the passage, or your sense of the paragraph will be tested in this section. So you need to read a lot. Fill in the blanks with correct statement. And for these two section as well, arrange in proper sequence and find out the incorrect statement. If you are reading properly and you continue reading properly, this section will be easy for you. Other than that, if you are starting other than that, I won't say that English language section was a hard section. All of these 4 questions were around easy to moderate, and you will be able to solve these questions if you are properly preparing for the examination. Preparation is must, and you need to read properly, you need to read a lot to solve this section, English language, right? Now if you see 8 plus 6, 14, 14 plus 16 question, 14 plus 16, 30 questions from these 4 sections only. Reading comprehension, arrange in proper sequence, find the incorrect statement, and fill in the blanks with correct word. Your grammar was tested, your sense of paragraph, your sense of statements was tested in this section, right? Now let's move to the next section. This is our last section. We have covered logical reasoning, legal reasoning, quant, right, and English language. This is our last section. We'll spend some time in this section, GK including current affairs. There was some issues regarding this section, GK including current affairs. Now I'll divide the questions around 20 questions from static GK. Around 10 questions were from current affairs. But this section, current affair question had issues. Static, first let's talk about static GK. There were questions from polity. There were questions from geography. There were questions from books and authors, 2-3 from sports, literacy rate, defense, Indian organizations. Now, let's talk about polity. The questions that were there from polity, number of articles in the Indian Constitution, fairly easy question, number of articles 395. The question was, what was the number of article of in the Indian Constitution at the time of commencement of Indian Constitution? Answer is 395. They may ask, what is the current number of articles in the Indian Constitution? You need to be prepared for that. First Deputy Prime Minister of India, Rajya Sabha chairman, who is the current Rajya Sabha chairman or who becomes ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Constitutional amendment. So the question was not specifically related to constitutional amendment. The question was, in which year was the voting age changed from 21 to 28? So it is related to constitutional amendment, but they did not ask directly what was the amendment. They asked in which year, in 1986 or 1987. This was the question. They asked the year. They did not ask what was the number of amendment, which amendment was that. So these were the 4 to 5 questions from polity. Fairly easy. If you cover polity properly, there were questions from Prime Minister. Now this is a static question. Who was the first? Static question. This is directly from the polity, which won't be changed. Rajya Sabha chairperson, constitutional amendment, number of articles in the Indian Constitution. Fairly easy section. 4-5 questions from polity, right? Now polity was a major topic in general knowledge. Second is geography. Let's see questions of geography. Now, where are Kanchipuram saris from? The other question, World Heritage Site, Hampi is located in which state? Karnataka. The question was from World Heritage Site. There are around 40 to 43 World Heritage Sites in India. UNESCO Heritage Sites in India. You need to be prepared with that. Forest cover in India. What is the forest cover in India? Types of forest in India. Largest forest in India which covers India, Indian mainland. The type of forest, the questions were from type of forest and the forest cover in India, percentage. They asked you percentage, right? Now the other question was from Western Ghats. They gave you name of 4 peaks and asked which peak is not in the Western Ghat. Now 4 to 5 questions from geography. Kanchipuram saris, related to Kanchipuram saris, from which state Kanchipuram saris are there, are from. World Heritage Site, they asked you Hampi, in which state it is located. Forest cover in India, types of forest in India, and related to Western Ghats. Now the topics which we can derive out here is World Heritage Site, obviously 42, 43 World Heritage Site, UNESCO Heritage Site, you need to learn about it properly. Some important GIs from some important GIs. So the question was around GI only, ki where is Kanchipuram sari from. Forest cover in India, so you need to cover the largest forest cover. Which state has the largest forest cover, which state has the least forest cover. Types of forest in India, geography question. Western Ghats, so you need to cover plateaus, different plateaus, different peaks, different mountain ranges, highest mountain ranges, etc. Now there was no question from rivers or river system, but if they are asking question from geography, so you need to include these questions as well. There were no question from mountain ranges, but there was some from Western Ghat, but it comes under plateau only. So river system, mountain ranges, etc. Now these were the questions from geography. We have covered polity, geography, 4 to 5 questions from polity, 6 to 7 from geography. Now next, the mixed questions. Arundhati Roy's books. They gave you name of four books, and they asked you which one is not written by Arundhati Roy. Now you will be questioning ki why a random author? No, they weren't asking about any random author. Arundhati Roy has won Booker Prize in 1997, so she is one of the well-known writers around the world from India. That's why they may have asked this question. The other question was, there is a book written by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, India 2020. They asked the name of who is the other author. Along with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, there is another author who co-wrote this book with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So they asked you the name of the other author. Now, Arundhati Roy, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, they stand out. Must have asked the question that may be the reason you may learn about Salman Rushdie, his books, because his books are in news right now in the current events. There was a judgment relating to Salman Rushdie's book, so you should learn about those authors, find out a list of most important or well-known authors from India, and you may read what books they have written, right? Lowest literacy rate in any Indian state. So if we are covering the types of forest or forest cover in India, so literacy rate, forest cover, mortality rate, etc. Now the percentage wise survey questions which are for most developed state or highest GDP, from this topic we can cover and we have seen a question from forest cover, so lowest literacy rate or forest cover or highest GDP, these type of questions that may be asked in the current affairs relating to state. International Solar Alliance, there was a question regarding International Solar Alliance, when International Solar Alliance became a part of or United Nations recognized International Solar Alliance. Now the issue, I told you that there was issue regarding current affairs, right? Static, we have covered static, polity, geography, literacy rate questions. There was a defense question, INS Vikrant aircraft carrier. The question was regarding that. They gave you a name of 4 Indian Navy ships and asked you which one is aircraft carrier. Most basic question, one of the most basic questions. Now aircraft carrier ka question, so these are the questions. Now the issue was from current affair. The issue is that they asked you question from Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. The question were from 2021. They asked you, there was a question, who won the Grand Prix in 2021? They asked you question regarding ISRO chairperson, and they asked who was appointed ISRO chairperson in 2021, right? This question was also from 2021. So there was no current affairs directly asked from the year 24 or 25, but the questions were from these 4 questions, they were from 2021 and 2022. What does it mean? In the coming examination, in the coming slot, maybe in the next slot, they will include current affair questions from 24 or 25, because Paris Olympics, it has already happened. So why ask question from Tokyo Olympics, right? But this may change in the next slot. This may change in the next slot. So you need to be prepared for current affairs. But in the current slot, there was no question from current affairs from the year 24 or 25. But you need to be prepared, because NMIMS-LAT is being conducted every day. NMIMS-LAT is being conducted every day for the next 30 days, and then after those 31 days, there is another slot. So it is fairly clear that they must have included a lot of questions. That's why in the initial examination, in the initial days of this examination, there are questions from 21 or 22. But in the coming days, in the later days, there may come questions from current affairs from 24 or 25. Most important questions from the last year, last 2-3 years you should cover, if there is a trend like this where they are asking question from Tokyo Olympics. So most important where they are asking from Grand Prix 2021, so you should cover most important questions from the last 3 to 4 years. Now after if we I think we have properly covered each and every section. after covering this each and every section, I just need to go back and I wanted to decide upon the marks that could be highest marks that one could get in each and every section, right? So this will give you a fair idea around where you need to score or what could be a good score in NMIMS-LAT, right? So legal reasoning. Now, after seeing each and every section, we are clear what type of questions that are being asked in NMIMS-LAT. Legal reasoning, 30 questions directly from principal fact-based question. If they asked legal GK, they asked in GK, general knowledge, right? They asked 4 to 5 questions from polity. So there was no reason, there was no need to ask legal GK question in legal reasoning. So there were 30 questions, and I'll say the level of difficulty of those principal fact based question was not that high. That's why I've written easy here. And without, now in an ideal situation you can score 30 out of 30, but examination and giving examination in an examination center, it is never an ideal situation. Ideal situation is giving examination at your home. So out of 30 you can easily score, I'm saying easily, you can easily score 25. You can easily score 25. Whoever scores about 25, good, best. But around 25, or you can also say 22 to 25 is a good mark in this section. Then logical reasoning. What were the questions in logical reasoning? 8 from seating arrangement, assumption, conclusion, odd one out, and image and symbol based questions. The level was easy to moderate because sometimes we leave questions from this section, image and symbol based question. You may not be able to cover, you wouldn't have covered this question. So that's why it is easy to moderate. Out of 30 you can score around 20, and above that 20 to 22 would be good marks in this section. Quant moderately high, but now let's come to quant. 20 to 22, but you can score more than 20, more than 22 in logical reasoning as well. Quant, why moderately high? Because there were questions from geometry, there were questions from linear equation, which which law aspirant generally do not solve. They solve questions from 4 sections: time, speed, distance, and the ratio, percentage, profit and loss, etc. So that's why this section is moderately high. If you have covered properly those 4 to 5 chapters, work, time, speed and distance, percentages, ratio, and percentage averages, so you will be able to cover around 18 to 20 questions. Around 5 to 6 questions were from geometry, so around 23 to 25 questions you may have chance to solve, you will be able to solve. So if you score around 18 to 20, you may go higher than this, but if you score around 18 to 20, this would be a good mark. English language, GK including, first I'll cover GK including current affairs. We cannot expect that there are questions from 2021 or 2022. That's why let's cut out 5 marks from this section. So other than that, geography, polity, books and authors, there are 25 questions from these sections, around 20 to 22 from GK as well, and English will test you on grammar, and there are chances that you will get it wrong, or if your grammar is good, if your reading comprehension is better, then you will be able to score marks. So about 20 is also good marks. So only the scoring subject here is legal reasoning, English, GK. When there are questions from polity, you have topics from geography, polity, polity, books and authors, etc. And then logical reasoning. These are the 4 most scoring sections for you. You can score around 90 to 100 marks in this section easily. From these 4 sections, you will be able to score around 90 to 100 marks. And then cover the basics of the quant properly, those 5 to 6 chapter which we discussed, and after that go ahead with the other sections which you were not preparing for, or you were not solving more questions in that section. I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear. Legal reasoning will take you ahead. GK also around 20 to 20 questions, 20 to 22 questions. Logical reasoning and English as well. English, maybe some students will find problem in grammatical question or arranging the sequence. Other than that, you will be able to score in English language as well. And logical reasoning, we have seen the questions of logical reasoning. There were questions from symbol based questions, but it was fairly easy if you properly solve the content that is given to you by the IMS, and if you solve more than that, you will be able to cover most of the sections, and you will be able to solve most questions in NMIMS-LAT. Now, that will be all from my side for this session. If you have any problem, if you have any doubts, please comment on this video. We'll be reaching out to you. We'll be try to solve your problem. Other than that, please subscribe, and please subscribe to IMS Get Set Law. Thank you. Thank you so much.